word. So, do you have any examples of like some of those experiments you did as a young Steedly bachelor?
Yes, as a young Steedly bachelor. I would say for me, it was like traveling and trying new things. I moved a lot and went to a lot of different places just looking for new experiences. So, I mean, gosh, I went like overseas for like 3 months and like tried out like doing different ministry stuff and serving the poor, like in Africa. So some of it was like faith related. Others of it was just, I want to move closer to these friends and family. So I'm just going to move over here because why not? Because I can, and I can get a job and I can just do that. So it was a lot of moving. It was a lot of experimenting. It was a lot of just trying out like different jobs and things just to kind of see, like I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, or at least at that point, I wasn't sure how to do what I wanted to do. How do you get that started? Like back in the day, I wanted to be in the ministry, which I thought was like a vocational paid thing, right? That's going to give me like this stable income because of all my supporters. And I had this picture in my head of how that was going to look, right? And it kept not happening. And so, but that was a lot of time spent like trying to chase this dream, like this idealized dream of I'm going to be in my perfect passion and living everything that makes me happy. And I'm not going to have to deal with any of the hard things because I'm going to be doing all of the fun and exciting things. And life just kept kind of hammering me and getting in my way. And I wasn't able to make that happen. So that's a lot, I think, a lot of those early days.
So, yeah, when you're living in your passion, you're never going to meet any resistance, right? It's just going to be smooth sailing. But ladies and gentlemen, for your $2,000 seed monthly, we will lay hands on the device in which we read your email, and we will pray over it, and you will receive a special blessing upon your life. So send us your $2,000 a month monthly contribution, please.
Oh my gosh!
We can live out our passions.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but you mentioned traveling, which I did a good bit of that. But one thing you mentioned, you were like, you didn't know what you want to do. So then I will ask you, do you think that is a bad thing?
No, not really. If anything, it's kind of an exciting thing. Well, let me say this. When I was younger, I think it felt like a bad thing because I wanted certainty. I wanted like the security of like, okay, I found my thing. I'm not going to like wander aimlessly, because a big fear in my life was fear of missing out. And that's still a fear. That's something I have to kind of like work through, right? Like I don't want to have thought or like done something wrong or, in a way that made me miss out on this great opportunity. And so I spent a lot of those times being afraid and trying to get it all right. Connecting with the right people, speaking and saying things that everyone would be more palatable to the most people, right? Like almost seeker sensitive to a degree, right? So you're just trying to try all of that in the service of trying to like gain a platform or influence essentially, and I don't think I understood how influence works. And like also that you can't really manipulate it. And it's also like, you don't want influence that you can manipulate and make happen. You want influence that you actually earn,
Yeah. Cause if you receive the influence through all the manipulation, you have to continue the manipulation in order to sustain it. And I don't think any human on the planet is actually built to sustain themselves through manipulating either one person or massive groups of people. I think that leads to, you see a lot of the big public failures, the big public secrets coming out. I think a lot of it comes down to, well, you built your platform that in a way that wasn't authentic, and then you had to sustain it that way. And then all those things you've been hiding from just come out. They come out one way or another, and that's my 2 cents on it anyway. Yeah. And due to inflation, my 2 cents is probably worth 0.25% of a cent. Hyperinflation, man. Got to start investing in the crypto and the Bitcoin, Dogecoin. Holla. Hey, Dogecoin, if you want to sponsor the podcast, get at me.
That's right.
All right. No, but you mentioned some really good things there. But then related to that, it's something, because I feel like I was taught this. I feel like I was taught, whether I was taught it directly or it was indirectly taught through public education, media, all these other things you influence or you kind of encounter when you're coming up as a young man. Do you feel like you were taught some way, whether it be directly or indirectly, that you have to have it all figured out by 18, 20, 25, whatever? Do you feel like you were taught that in some ways? Or
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
No. Yeah, that's a great question. But yeah, I think for me, at least I can speak for my own self, but I think I definitely somehow or another through all those various influences, right? Church related, your parents, like you said, there's just so many different outlets that affect what you perceive as success. But yeah, I definitely felt like I need to go to Bible school. I need to get married. I need to get in the ministry. And then all those things are just going to magically work themselves out. I just got to get that picture together. And if I can do that and make enough money doing all that, then I am a success as an individual, right? It had nothing to do with internally feeling any sort of certain way. It had everything to do with completing like an external picture. And that to me is probably a big difference between Bachelor and or now, is success was very external to me previously. And now it's very much more based on how I feel internally.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's that internal state, because I work in schools in my day job, and I'm not necessarily knocking what we do in schools, but there's been this myth kind of propagated in schooling that is, all right, you got to make good grades in school, because if you don't make good grades in school, you're not going to get into a good college. If you don't get into a good college, you're not going to get a good job. If you don't get a good job, you're not going to be economically or financially stable, and success is being financially stable, right? But for me, there's a big problem with, bro, I know so many people, and even myself at one point, I dropped everything that I was doing and kind of went off. I didn't have those, I was a bachelor, I didn't have anything tied to it. And I just gave up everything I had. I had a pretty sweet setup that was about to happen for me. And I just said, nah, I don't want to do that. Something about it internally doesn't feel right. Sold a bunch of stuff, had a little money saved up, and basically spent the next 2 years spending that money trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And everyone's like, dude, you're being a bum. You're couch surfing and, doing all this, being irresponsible and all of that. But it was like, I knew at that point in my life, like I could have committed to this thing at, 22 years old. I could have committed to this thing, and I felt like if I had committed to it, that money, that financial stability was just like a hook that would have just hooked me. And I was stood there in that one place internally knowing, hey, I'm not going to be happy right now if I do this. Although I'm going to have a bunch of money. I'm going to get all my student loans paid off. Good word. So
calm down now to keep it real. Open up your chest and you learn how to build a big bleeding heart. Go thump, thump, thump. And a big old love, that's how you overcome. Lock, slip, calm down now to keep it real. Open up your chest and you learn how to build a big bleeding heart. Go thump, thump, thump. And a big old love, that's how you overcome. Tick, tick, we wish it. A talk, them snakes is hissing. Crocodile come swallow the whole lot. Yeah,
friends and family, so I'm just going to move over here. Because why not? Because I can, and I can get a job, and I can just do that. So